What is up? I think we're live. Jeffrey,
Yep.
everybody, how's it going? Can we,
Good to see you guys.
ooh, what you smoking tonight, brother?
We are on some, it's like vanilla custard.
Vanilla custard. So,
Yeah.
thanks everybody for joining. This is the first episode of a new show that we're calling Two Men and a Comic. I am here with my good friend, Jeffrey KomiKHAN Henson, who I gotta say is one of my favorite community members. Not only have I been watching his channel for forever, but I've been now talking with him for quite a while off of YouTube, and we've become pretty good friends. And I think this is long overdue, my friend. So I'm glad we
Yeah.
finally figured out a way to collaborate and get something going. So thanks again for joining me here.
Oh, no problem, man. It's good to be here. Good to be here.
I'm glad you're here. So I think maybe the genesis for this show happened in another live chat where we kind of felt like this book was getting overlooked a little bit. And
Very much.
and
Yeah.
the book that we're talking about is Avengers No Road Home. So here's issue 1, issue 2, and then we've got a third issue out of the book today, issue 3. So um, first off, I just want to say that the writing team behind this book, which is Al Ewing, Jim Zub, and Mark Waid, that is a superstar, stellar team of comic writers. And the fact that those three are on this book, I think, is just sets it up really, really well. Then you've got then you've got Paco Medina as the inker, I believe, right? And then Juan Velasco and Jesus Abrutov. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but I think those are the colorists. So
Yep.
fantastic team behind this book. And also you've got Yasmin Putri doing the A covers, a super hot cover artist, and I think doing a great job, especially this week.
Absolutely.
Especially this week's
Yeah.
cover. I'm a big fan of this week's cover. So, what are your thoughts just in general about the team, about the artwork? Before we get into the story, the recap, the specifics, and talking about this week's issue, what are your thoughts?
Man, I mean, I'm loving everything about it. I was excited to pick this book up today. I'm loving everything. The team, I think
Same.
the team is wicked. The villains in it are wicked. The stories got me pumped. It's been exciting, and yet, still packs a good story to it. I feel like they're setting up a good future for everything in this series. I'm not exactly sure if it's going to be like a no surrender. What was that, 15 issues or something? I'm assuming that
Yeah.
they'll probably
So
do the same
It's
thing with
it's
this.
a weekly book. This is the third week. At the end of the third issue, today's issue, they showed a preview for issue 4 and issue 5. I don't actually know how long this series is planned on. I don't know how many issues are confirmed. Maybe somebody in the chat knows. If anybody in the chat, you guys are aware how long this run is confirmed for, or if there's any news about that specifically out there, that would be pretty cool. Issue says, I believe it's 10. I knighted issues today as a moderator number 2. Very dangerous move on my part. But looks like we got a couple people here in the chat. But we got, of course, we got I Got Issues. We got Mo, Comic Head 84, Gray Matter Hulk, Tony Guagliardo, and then we've got Juster Rican. What's up, Rod? I think I saw Gray Matter Hulk in here. Who else is in here? I think there's Ed D.
Ed D.
Yep.
Yep.
So thanks, guys. I appreciate you stopping by and checking
Absolutely.
out the first episode. So yeah, so if it goes 10 issues, I would appreciate that. If it goes more, I would appreciate that too. I mean, it's a weekly book, so I don't know. Usually these have limited lifespans as far as weekly books, but I'm really, really digging it so far. I mean, Al Ewing is just absolutely killing it right now on Immortal Hulk and this. Like to
Unbelievable.
be writing these two books right now. He's blowing my mind, honestly. And you know, it took me a second to catch up on Immortal Hulk, and I'll admit I'm not fully caught up. I'm on issue 11, so I still have, you know, 2.5 issues to go to be fully caught up. But one of the aspects of this series that I'm really enjoying is the Immortal Hulk character crossover
Yeah.
into some of these other Avengers and the team at large. So it is a pretty awesome dynamic, and that's what Comic Head 84 is saying. It's fun to see Immortal Hulk on the Avengers team. It's a different dynamic. And I Got Issue says, I believe it rolls directly into War of the Realms, which will also be weekly. Okay, yeah, so I have heard about that event series. I'm not 100% familiar with the timing around that, so looks like that does kind of make sense. So
yeah, and I'm with you on that. I think they did a great job at the characters. I am really enjoying this series, almost if not just as much as Immortal Hulk.
Yeah, me too.
Like when you first started off, you talked about Al Ewing, Jim Zub, and Mark Waid being such a great collection of writers. I feel like it really shows in this series.
It really does.
Dude.
So yeah, it looks like the chat is pretty much on the same page. Ed D, excited for this series, however many weeks it goes, and lots of positivity about the series in general. Marvel Joe 67, welcome to the chat. So
hey, Marvel Joe, good to see you, buddy. I actually just got your package, Joe. So thank you.
Nice. Teaser.
Yeah.
So let's set the stage a little bit before we talk about the this week's issue and where we think it's going to go moving forward. The first issue was essentially a lot of setup. We had characters sort of off on their own in different places, right? We had we had Hercules and Rocket Raccoon in NYC, right? And then we had Wanda, Scarlet Witch, and Clint Hawkeye on the West Coast, right?
Yeah.
Then we had I'm not sure where location wise they were, but we had Vision, Spectrum, Monica Rambeau,
DC, I believe, Washington DC.
Oh, DC. Okay, and we had Blue Marvel and I think one other character, but off the top of my head, I don't remember what character.
Dr. Ho.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, Dr. Ho. So we had them in DC. Vision's dealing with some consequences from, I'm not entirely sure where that connected from, like his current status or state. Were you aware of where?
I am not either. No.
I don't know if it's related to the other Avengers run or another ongoing series right now that I'm behind on, right, or haven't read, but
yeah.
Anyway,
no, I'm with you on that.
Had some issues going on, and then we also see Hulk, Bruce Banner, out in the middle of New Mexico somewhere, tying into his travels in the Immortal Hulk path, right? And the same thing happens in all locations. All of a sudden, everything goes dark, and for Vision's sake, that's not good because he needs that to keep him alive, right? And the catalyst that drives the story forward is Voyager. So Voyager appears first to Bruce Banner and Hulk.
Yes.
And basically, she starts collecting up this new Avengers team. So of course we've got Hercules, Rocket Raccoon, we've got Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye, we've got Bruce Banner,
Spectrum,
Hulk, we got Spectrum, Monica Rambeau, and then we got Voyager. Am I missing anybody on the core team?
No, I don't think. I think that's it.
So that's the core team, and they're all essentially connected together by Voyager. And when the second that they're all together, right? Voyager warns the team about an attack on, was it Mount Olympus, with the gods. And Hercules essentially freaks out, says, warp us there immediately, of which she then proceeds to do that. And that is where we are essentially introduced to sort of the tragedy that happened to the immortals. You have Hercules essentially, comforting his sister Athena, while she's taking her last breath, essentially, and she's revealing to him that the culprit behind this is the true villain of this run, essentially, which is the goddess of night, or the mistress of night,
Goddess of, yeah, dark goddess or
dark goddess of
something.
the night, Nyx, or Nyx or Nyx. We
Yeah.
debated earlier how what the pronunciation is, but and apparently you're not supposed to speak her name, and then Wanda does, right? And she pays the quote unquote price. And on the final panel of the first issue, you see basically her eyes being like, speared out or poked out by
It
Nick.
almost looked like a venomization
Yeah, it
kind of
almost
thing
looked
of
like
her
a
hand into
venomized.
her
It
eye.
almost looked like a venomized cover, venomized variant in some way. And when I read it, I frankly thought Scarlet Witch just bit the bullet. Like
Yeah, me too.
it might have been a death of Scarlet Witch scenario, but soon into issue 2, we find out that she is still alive, but that she's been quote unquote blinded, which I've used quote unquote because in this week's issue you find out something else as it
Yeah.
relates to that. But so that's essentially how issue 1 leaves off, and then issue 2 starts off kind of in a different style, of which you have Hawkeye narrating the whole story. You want to get into issue 2 a little bit?
Yeah, no, it started off with Hawk. I mean, there's a story going on, and then also within the story is the narration being done by Hawkeye.
Yeah.
And it starts off at the far shores where it's called Challenger's Prison, at the edge of everything, they call it.
Yeah.
And that's where Voyager and Challenger are having a conversation about what makes the Avengers capable of fighting like they do. And then out of nowhere, something kind of like, I don't know, it doesn't attack him, but it makes the Challenger scream in agony, they said. And then they kind of go to a flashback right there. That's like it's reality to them, but it's almost like a flashback to the reader of issue 1, where the immortals at Mount Olympus are getting
Basically,
killed.
it fills you in on exactly what went down. And how how the rest of Hercules' family essentially is taken out, and then it puts you back into current time after that, right?
Yeah, it does. It's where like they left off with issue number 1 with the Immortal Hulk in the hospital with Clint Barton,
right.
like
Yep.
grasped up in his hand.
Yep.
That's why they start fighting, right?
Yeah, essentially they take you back to the current time.
I jumped up a little quick on that one.
Yeah, you did, but we kind of want to get into issue 3 anyway, right? So
yeah,
they basically they have a mini battle with Nyx, and she's basically taunting them, saying, this is the Avengers, like this is nothing, and I'm
I shouldn't even be here. My kids should be
right.
You guys.
And I'm not even at my most powerful state, because we'll get into it more later, but there's a whole collect the gems kind of angle here. We're not calling them gems; they're calling them what, the power shards, or something shards. And so essentially you have a mini battle, and then Voyager kind of changes up the equation at the end of that, by saying, hey, if she's here battling us, that means the
the children of
the night, yeah, the children of the night, Nick
must be out, like
must be out collecting the shards to turn her into the an all-encompassing end of the world style power.
basically saying that it's a trap, it's a
Right.
setup. She
Setup.
got the Avengers there so she could send her kids out to like try to capture the shard so she could get her power back.
Bake the snake says, I think I just sharded.
Yes, Bake. Oh gosh.
Speaking of which, so we got Bake the Snake, we got Biggie Shack Comics, got Perry Comics, we got The Boy Who Had Seven, we got Discovery Bay, JB, got Unruly Simeon here. Thank you so much for showing up, guys. We really, really appreciate that. Especially for our first episode, and
For
especially
sure.
on such a packed night on the YouTube comic tube, if you will.
Yeah.
We're trying to get through this as quickly as possible because we've got some of our friends also on tonight. So so that basically leads us to the end of issue 2. The end of issue 2, you kind of see Clint and Immortal Hulk together in a sort of uh-oh kind of moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Hulk's ready to pay him back for
Hulk's
that
ready to, yeah,
arrow to the.
exactly. Hulk's ready to pay him back for quote unquote killing him, right? And
Mhm.
that's kind of that's the teaser you leave off of in the second issue leading into this week's issue. And then this week's issue, the dynamic kind of changes right away where you're not really sure what's happening because
Right.
you know,
Like I'm expecting it to pick up right where it left
me
off,
too.
basically.
Me too.
Where you're gonna see the Hulk with Clint in his hands and carrying on with that. So I was not shocked, but it kind of like, oh
Right,
wow, what's going on? Something
right,
new
because
happening right here.
the first panel of this week picks up with Rocket Raccoon essentially going through his creation all over again, right? Which is essentially
Yes.
a horror story for him or a nightmare, right? Which
Nightmare, yeah.
we'll learn about as to what that means, a few pages later. But there's a new narrator all of a sudden kind of explaining the situation,
We
right?
don't know who
We
yet in
don't,
this one. It hasn't been revealed
right,
to us, I
and we
don't
don't
think.
exactly, and we don't know who. And then, but eventually he runs into the scenario that left off issue 2, which is Hulk basically trying to get payback on Hawkeye, right?
Yeah. Ready to
And
pound his brains and
exactly, and that really doesn't last too long because by the time they all realize what's happening, they kind of break this, quote unquote spell, right? And find
yeah.
themselves essentially being manipulated by, I mean, I don't necessarily know what to call him. He doesn't necessarily feel like a villain character, but Nightmare, he kind of feels like almost like a Loki-ish character.
Yeah, he's been around though, so
He's been
he's
around.
not new.
Yeah, so
Um,
but I thought all of a sudden maybe they were introducing a whole new part of the storyline, but what it
Me
really
too.
is it's tying back to the hiding of the shard or gems or whatever. I don't even know what to call them honestly,
Yeah,
but
the book refers to him as shards, but after
shard
Big said he sharded
shard,
himself,
yeah,
I'm not sure I want to call him that
it's a
anymore.
funny word. Um,
Yeah.
first appearance of Rocket Wang.
Oh
Um,
gosh. Hey, Stacy's weekly comic book picks. Good to see you, Stacy.
Hey,
No
Stacey.
good comics. The Boy Who Had Seven. Biggie Shack. Thank you guys.
So that covers almost the first third of this week's issue. And so we have Hulk, we have Clint, we have Rocket Raccoon, and we've got Nightmare figuring things out. And then we've got Spectrum, Vision, Scarlet Witch, and Hercules figuring things out elsewhere, right? Because they're all of a sudden transported to a place what's it called? Omnipotent, yeah,
Omnipotence or something.
the impotence. Is it the impotence?
Yeah. Yes.
Uh,
Oh, I need
no,
some
that-
Niagara for that city.
that's our next show. Impotence, comment
After dark.
after dark. Yeah, no. Um, so yeah, so it says, on this gorgeous double page. I guess it's like a double page splash with like two connected contextual panels right here. I just thought this was a gorgeous. Is this the centerfold of the book? Or no, it's not the centerfold, but it's pretty damn gorgeous
It almost
visual.
reminds me of, is it
This.
Avatar that has that floating city in the sky when they're learning to fly those things? You remember that? It almost reminded me of like a scene from a movie like Avatar or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, it almost kind of reminded me of some Star Wars related stuff too, in some ways.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool, and that's when I guess they are introduced to some like wizard style character, which is like I forget what
The head librarian.
Yeah, like the Grandmaster Librarian. So issue says that is Avatar, the Floating Rock Mountains.
Okay, thanks, Issues.
Honestly, I haven't seen Avatar since it came out in theaters. I got to give it another watch. I know that they're working on new ones, but I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I guess the plot essentially develops here because Scarlet Witch eventually finds out that she can see, even though she's quote unquote blind, she can see the power, the power shards.
Yeah.
Right. And by the time she does that, it is sort of revealed that she has become the eyes for Nyx and the children of the night or whatever. And two of her children, I guess warp into the scene, right? And we'll circle back around to that at the end. But meanwhile, Nightmare and Hulk and Clint are essentially working out a deal, saying, like, you help me, we help you, kind of thing, right? And you get into some backstory about how he's connected to sort of the past.
Zeus.
Yeah.
He basically did a favor for Zeus in order for Zeus to let him control our dreams and give us nightmares, kind of a thing.
So, circling back to the essentially what is the final battle of this issue, or it's kind of a battle. I'm not entirely sure where it's going because of the last page, but so who were the two children again? What were their names? Apate?
Apate, and Dolos.
And Dolos.
Apate, something like that.
So what was the power of Dolos? I know like there was this like cloud surrounding her here, like on this page, see this?
Gods of deceit and trickery, it says. Gods
of deceit and trickery. Got it. Because I know the librarian guy says the fog of Dolos corrupts the senses of anyone it touches. You'll not easily penetrate its cover. Anyway, once we
if you had to pick, like this is the point in the book where I'm starting to feel like Spectrum, Monica Rambeau, is kind of one of the leaders of this group.
Yes, for sure.
Which I'm cool with. I don't have a problem.
I got that sense in issue 2 also, when she hid herself within Vision and then like came out and did this kind of like epic move thing that actually phased Nyx, you know what I mean, and then allowed Hercules.
I forgot about that. Yeah, but no, at first I was disappointed. I was like, oh, they didn't put Monica Rambeau in this group of people, and then like 3/4 of the way through the book, you find out that she was just hiding within Vision. Right. Like, oh yeah.
For sure, I think she's a pretty strong character. Especially so far, very cool character.
Sure.
So. Final page, we have Hercules essentially getting the knives through the back from Apate, but I don't think that they're not literally knives. It's like a metaphorical power, right? That
I kind of have I have a theory with this too. As if, when Scarlet Witch got the hands to the eyes and she kind of like became the eyes for Nyx, like I feel like now he got stabbed with those knives and like I feel kind of like he's under like possession almost now, kind of a thing. So exactly. I mean, I don't know, he's clearly something's going on with him now.
Mr. Garrell made a comment. I haven't read this at all, and I apologize. But at the beginning of the show, we should have just disclaimered that this is going to be a totally spoiler show.
Sorry.
Like like this book is 3 issues in. We already said basically talked about all 3. Hey, Thanatos, thanks for the 1 second cameo. uh, but by the end of it, he's essentially under somebody else's control, under control of the children of the night, and he is blaming the Avengers, right? He's blaming the Avengers.
He gets really enraged towards
right.
those Avengers.
Right. So who knows where the next issue goes? I mean, I'm pretty excited. Honestly, like I'm really glad this is a weekly book because I don't know if I could wait. It would be torture, I think, waiting on this for a month at a time. It's that kind of story.
It is. I bet they've already got like the whole series written out or something because this is too good, like to just be going by on a week basis throwing something at the wall. But
absolutely. So a couple more people join here. We got JP's Budget Collecting. How you doing, man?
Good to see you.
See you. And then we've also got.
Thanks, No Good.
I'm not sure who else is in here. No Good Comics. What's up, man? Thanks for stopping by.
Joe 47771. Thanks for stopping by, Joe.
So, if I had to guess where things might be going, I feel like that they're setting things up so that there is potentially a split, you know what I mean, somewhere in the Children of the Night potentially, you know what I mean. I don't know because I don't know a ton about that group of characters, if I'm honest, you know what I mean.
Yeah, me neither.
And I feel like a lot of the character setup for them is still happening, but I think it's interesting to see where they go with with this Hercules angle, with the Immortal Hulk and Clint working together angle, with Spectrum and her leadership in the team, with Voyager and how she factors into everything. What about you? Do you have any speculation or any guesses as to what's next before we wrap things up here?
I mean, speculation. I think they're going to tie it in with. Obviously, we know they're going to tie it in with the War of the Realms, but I wouldn't be surprised if this starts tying in with Guardians of the Galaxies in some way. I wouldn't be surprised if this ties into like Immortal Hulk in some way. It's just I feel like they're going to bring a lot together. I totally see that this could be potential like movie type of a thing. Obviously, because it reminds me so much. Like, if I had one negative about this series, is I get a little Infinity Gauntlet. We were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
I get a little Infinity Gauntlet feel with it.
That was what I was gonna. I mean, I almost didn't want to mention it. I kind of joked about it in the first 5 minutes that there's a little bit of a gem deja vu situation happening. Of you've got the core antagonist utilizing their crew of baddies, in this case their children, right?
Yeah.
To scour the universe to collect things that that when combined, can.
And that's kind of what I'm feeling like is. Yeah, she's going to be searching now. She's going to get one of the gems, and they're going to try and beat her to the next one, and somehow she's going to get the next gem, and she's going to have 2 of the 3, and somehow they're going to like have this epic battle or something to fight and defend for the last one. It's really I don't think it really matters. It's been written really well, and characters. I think they did a good job. Character selection. It's not the same characters you're always seeing, and I think they work well together.
I agree with you, brother. and I'm looking forward to keeping the reading going on this. So just a couple more comments here in the chat. The boy who had 7 said, I've only read 1 and 2, but he's excited to read number 3, and he can't get enough of the Infinity Gauntlet gems and that kind of stuff. So, you know, it is a popular kind of thematic thing within the Marvel universe. So
Yeah.
I can see that. Comic
Hey, Cassie, good to see you.
Hey, Cassie, thanks for stopping by. She said someone trusted these two with the wrenches. We're all screwed. I know, right? Well, hey, what are you going to do? Stay Puff, thanks for stopping by, man. And RB3 also joined, I believe.
Oh, good to see you.
And said, wrap up. He just got here. So, well,
good to see you, Stay Puff, Lindsay.
We're trying. Hey, Lindsay, what's going on? We're trying to keep things tight on this show and not
draw
it out for as long as we can and get off topic too much, I guess. But who knows? We may go longer in future episodes. But there's another premiere happening today, literally right now, on KomiKHAN Unlimited with some of our good friends. So I want to take this opportunity to go promote them and say go check out the first episode of KomiKHAN Unlimited right now with JD, Comic Spectre, Comics Misexplained, and John's Comics with Kids. So as soon as we end this stream, I'm going to be hopping over there into the chat. I'd like to thank Need Mo Comics and I Got Issues. Great job moderating tonight, guys.
Absolutely appreciate it.
Great job. And I want to thank everybody who stopped by. I can't recommend this series enough. If you're not reading it, go pick it up, get caught up. You've only got 3 issues, and they're really quick reads. They're really super quick reads, and it's an easy series to get caught up on. And you know, I don't know if we'll continue this show doing the next issue or not. You know, I don't know. We'll talk about it, and we'll announce it via the usual places like Instagram. You know, so
we haven't gotten anywhere past this issue right here, so.
Exactly. So we'll figure it out and let everybody know what the topic of the next 2 Men in a Comic is going to be about. Maybe we'll switch things up, do it on Jeffrey's channel. Maybe we won't. But we're not the greatest planners. We're kind of we're of the more casual ilk in the community. Myself and Jeffrey. So we'll just play it by ear and we'll let you guys know. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great night. We'll see you over at KomiKHAN and also New Comic Book Club Book Day, our New Comic Book Day Book Club later tonight with D Comic Queen, White Whale Comics, and John's Comics with Kids, where they're going to talk about another great series, Die, tonight. So we'll see you guys on the chats, and we'll
see you again.
We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.